also out of respect for the media who have arrived on time. We're going to get started, okay? Good morning. My name is Fred Kowal. I am the president, statewide president of United University Professions. UUP represents the professional and academic staff at SUNY's state-operated campuses, including the campuses here at SUNY ESF, also SUNY's public teaching hospitals, and system administration. I want to thank all of you who have joined us, including members of UUP, students. They are indeed our best advocates and community leaders. It really is great to be here to advocate for campuses like ESF, Morrisville, and Cortland, which are so essential to our communities. We kicked off this campaign last week at the University at Albany, followed by a trip to New Paltz on Tuesday. We will also be traveling to Buffalo State, Plattsburgh, Old Westbury, and Brockport's downtown Rochester campus to emphasize the importance of the campuses to our communities in so many different ways, but also to accentuate the financial crises that are gripping so many of SUNY's campuses. Last year, we had some significant legislative wins thanks to the advocacy of UUP members across the state and the partnership of key legislators. And also, the governor, for the first time in 15 years, we had a governor who actually proposed and got into the budget an increase in state support for SUNY. However, last year was only a starting point. The colleges we are visiting, along with all of SUNY's colleges, universities, and public teaching hospitals, drive their regional economies and are vital to New York State's economy. Economic development is defined as the creation of wealth from which community benefits are realized. SUNY is economic development. The economic returns on investing in SUNY are indisputable, but the fact is the fact. Every SUNY campus in central New York has significant operating deficits, and there is no indication that that will change anytime soon without a commitment from the state. SUNY campuses in central New York and statewide are educating the next generation of New York's workforce, from the medical programs at Upstate Medical to New York's largest comprehensive teacher education program at Cortland, to specialized agriculture and technology programs at Morrisville, and essential sustainability initiatives at ESF to combat the climate crisis. SUNY is leading the way. We have a few speakers here today who will speak to the impact of Cortland and ESF, but I want to take a moment to highlight Morrisville a bit more. SUNY Morrisville's Nelson Farms is a business incubator, food product processing facility, and hands-on academic classroom that has helped nearly 600 businesses and has been involved in bringing more than 400 products to market. SUNY Morrisville students and faculty are also at the center of the Keys to Work initiative, a collaboration between Morrisville and the Madison County Community Action Partnership. The school provides the facility, technology, and student labor to repair vehicles that community members obtain for transportation to work. Through this program, students gain valued learning experience while offering direct assistance to community members in need. The impact of SUNY campuses on their communities is unmatched. SUNY employs over 7,000 people in central New York and supports an additional 21,000 jobs for a regional economic impact of nearly $4 billion. Statewide, SUNY has an economic impact of nearly $30 billion per year, flowing through over 80% of New York's industries. Additionally, there are 1.8 million SUNY graduates participating in the workforce, and SUNY is one of the top 10 largest employers in every region outside of New York City. In communities across the state, SUNY contributes to a more diverse and highly educated population by providing cultural resources, physical assets, and a critical mass of intellectual, civic, and economic activity that filters into neighborhoods, businesses, and public spaces. Investing in these communities through proper funding from SUNY helps the state. SUNY campuses, including employees, students, visitors, stimulate their local economies through the purchase of goods and services. Those dollars circulate through the state and regional economy and every state dollar invested in SUNY yields a return of over $8. As we head toward another budget announcement from the governor and the upcoming legislative session, UUP is committed to advocating for much-needed operating aid for SUNY campuses and local communities where they are located. And let's make this year the year that we put the public back in public education. This can only be accomplished through a full financial commitment by the state, ending the reliance on student tuition and fees to fund the system and the harmful privatization practices that are ongoing. SUNY is a public good with real public value, and it deserves to be funded as such. We cannot fix the financial problems we face in SUNY by limiting class options, overcrowding classrooms, or raising tuition or fees. Now, I know I've thrown a lot of data at you. These numbers help paint the picture of the importance of fully funding SUNY, but I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to hear from the people who will speak much more directly to the impact of these campuses and SUNY on Central New York and their communities. Again, I want to thank all of our speakers for joining us today in this important work. We look forward to continuing to advocate together for the support that we need, the crucial support for our campuses, for the work we do, and for our communities. Our first speaker today is Syracuse Common Council member Rita Paniagua. Got it the second time. I'm going to start that all over. Our first speaker, I was so proud of it before too. Our first speaker is Syracuse Common Council member Rita Paniagua, who chairs the Education and Human Development Committee. Prior to serving on the council, she was the executive director at the Spanish Action League of Onondaga County. She also worked with the New York State Puerto Rico Hispanic Task Force. She has previously worked with several community organizations dedicated to the arts, diversity, equity and inclusion, education, and economic development. Please welcome Council Member Rita Paniagua.
Good morning, everybody. As I'm Rita Paniagua, City Councilor at Large, and I'll start by saying that in 20 years that I've been living in Syracuse, a resident, and now as your City Councilor at Large, I have seen SUNY ESF's impact in the community firsthand. Their expertise in the environmental field has made great contributions in the development of policies and programs that will impact the environmental health of our city for generations to come. From the Syracuse Urban Forestry Initiative to the development of a workforce ready for employment in energy-efficient technologies, careers, ESF programs are a key part of a sustainable future for Syracuse and the Central New York region. Additionally, SUNY ESF is one of the anchor institutions aligning with the Syracuse Surge economic development programs. These collaborations are needed for the cohesion and wellness of our city as well as its economic development. It is my hope and the city's that this academic institution will count on the support it requires to continue its work as an integral part of our city and region. Thank you.
Thank you, Comptroller Marty Masterpole. The Comptroller is a SUNY Oswego alum and has a long history of public service here in Central New York. A lifelong Syracuse resident, before being elected as County Comptroller, he served on the Syracuse Common Council, the Onondaga County Legislature, and as the City of Syracuse Auditor. His career across different levels of government gives him an important perspective on the needs of Central New York and why SUNY is so vitally important. Mr. Masterpole.
Thank you, everyone, and good morning. The introduction blew a lot of my speech. I was going to speak to being educated in the SUNY system. One thing that wasn't mentioned is before my attendance at SUNY Oswego, I'm a proud alum of Onondaga Community College out of the CUNY system. So, and my wife and I, Heather, live on the west side of Syracuse, Heather's a teacher at Corcoran High School and also is a SUNY Geneseo alum. So, you know, these things, when it comes to funding, and I applaud the effort of the governor and the legislature for beginning a process of funding the SUNY system, especially here at ESF. Of course, we have a local Syracusan, President Mahoney, running ESF and doing our best to lobby the state to support President Mahoney is very important. This really resonates. When do things resonate with somebody is when it hits home. I have a junior in high school and also an 8th grader. We're beginning that academic process of where to head to next. Of course, you know, being a male, I have my son Michael's a junior. He wants to go to the greatest sports institutions, or who plays the best basketball, or where can he play baseball. I am quick to remind him and point to the SUNY system, both for its, you know, affordability, the quality education, the sports that really are coming out of ESF has, you know, a lot of those things that kids would skip to say, hey, I want to go to a university or somewhere where I can play sports or watch better sports. ESF has that right here as well. So it's really important, I think, to make sure, obviously, the funding is in place, but what resonates at home, what helps here in Syracuse. The economic engine that ESF is here. We see this past weekend, well, of course, in its close proximity to Syracuse University, but those weeks of homecoming, of graduation, of semester breaks when kids are coming into and out of these educational institutions, sales tax is through the roof. This past weekend, you could not get a hotel room in Onondaga County. The eds and meds, and in this case, speaking to specifically the eds of Onondaga County, are the economic engine locally here. Of course, we had a huge announcement with Micron, which will obviously be gigantic for Onondaga County and the entire region, but there's a lot of jobs to fill. We need a quality education here at home, supported by the state, to fill those jobs. We are supporting Micron with tax incentives, as we should, because of the size and magnitude of the project, but let's support our local educational system at ESF, Morrisville, Cortland. I didn't even touch on Cortland, which is a gem in the rough, but the entire SUNY system needs to be supported to make sure that we have the workforce to benefit our residents here in Onondaga County. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I certainly will stick around afterwards for any questions.
Thanks, Marty. Next, we have with us Susan Wilson, who is one of our own UUP members and serves on the Cortland County Legislature.
Well, that was a lot to live up to. Could you send that to my mom? I think she'd like that. My name is Susan Wilson. I have been a SUNY employee for about 25 years. This is my 25th year working at SUNY. I moved to Central New York not knowing what I would find, and I found heaven. This is a great place to live, a great place to work, and a great place to play. Funding SUNY is not about the impact of one student. Funding SUNY is about enhancing communities with economic development. SUNY Cortland generates over $250 million in economic activity and is one of the top employers for the county. And if you've been paying attention, it will be one of the top, it'll probably be the top in the county because we're losing some jobs in industry. Professional graduates contribute to the quality of life. SUNY Cortland is home to the largest comprehensive teaching education program in New York and the 10th largest among public institutions in the U.S. SUNY Cortland will be, along with the other SUNY system or other SUNY comprehensive, will be critical in facing the teacher shortage in New York, which is expected to need about 180,000 new teachers in the next decade. SUNY also contributes to a more diverse workforce. We see that at Cortland with the SUNY Cortland Institute of Applied Geospectral and Drone Technology. It's a resource for entrepreneurs and startup companies in New York, in central New York. We need officials to recognize that putting the burden on students hurts our state by limiting those who can afford college, saddling graduates with debt, and limiting their contributions to their communities. A stronger SUNY means a stronger New York. We need to fund SUNY.
Thank you, Susan. Also joining us is Mark Olson, who is the unique position of being both a local mayor and a member of the Onondaga County Legislature. He's proudly served Fayetteville as mayor and as a volunteer fireman. But most importantly, he is a proud graduate of SUNY Morrisville. Mr. Olson.
You can also give that to my mother, too. She would like that. So, thank you very much to UUP for doing this, because it's important to get ahead of the legislature and the governor during this time. As a mayor, I'm part of the group called NICOM, and New York Conference of Mayors has in the same struggle and the same fight for additional funding for counties, cities, villages, and towns. So we know the importance of this, so I thank you for this. Marty talked about SUNY graduates. I'm very fortunate. I have one of seven, all seven of us SUNY students. SUNY Canton, SUNY Oswego, SUNY Geneseo, SUNY Oswego, and SUNY Morrisville. And I have a son at SUNY Geneseo. So I know the importance of a SUNY education. I am who I am today because of what Morrisville did for me. I'm in the same career as I went to school for, in the food service administration program at SUNY Morrisville, and now I'm still in the food service business. And I absolutely love what I do, but it had taught me so many life skills and so many important things. But as a mayor, I can tell you ESF, every project we do in the village, if it's a park, if it's an engineering project, if it's an environmental project, if it's a design for a new building, we use somebody from ESF, whether they're working for a firm that hired them, or we actually reach out to ESF for advice. This institution has helped every municipality in Onondaga County, towns, villages, county, city, state. ESF is a vital role in all the projects that happen in our community. But I want to talk about Morrisville College, because the pandemic, no one's mentioned this, a lot of people took a lot of lines I was going to talk about, but the pandemic crushed the hospitality industry, crushed the food service industry, absolutely decimated it. And Morrisville College, as you, in your opening remarks, is helping the food service administrator or food service companies, whether it's new products or whether it's restaurant management people, get back into the hospitality and tourism business. It's the economic driver that is going to make our city and our region vital or vibrant for people that come and visit us. You talked about it this weekend. I tried to get a hotel room for a friend of mine who was coming in. They couldn't get a hotel room. They stayed in Verona because that was the closest one they could find. So when you think about it, because they can't house all the people that we need for these programs and these people that are coming into our town. But Morrisville College is something that I think cannabis is a new program that's coming out, and they're working on that. There's so many different things. You talked about SUNY Cortland. The teachers, my mother's a teacher, my sister's a teacher, my brother's a teacher. They're all retired from the system. We're lacking teachers, and SUNY Cortland is part of that thing. But the economic impact of SUNY schools, when you talk about entrepreneurs, leaders, future workers, economic and cultural vitality, that is what a SUNY school does. That's what a SUNY school brings to our communities. We talk about eds and meds, and we talk about quality of life in the village of Fayetteville. We talk about that because we know that the people that live in our community are part of the SUNY system, and they bring a vitality back to the community. I have two board members, or two planning board and zoning board members that were ESF graduates. They volunteer their time to help our community. So they're giving back, not only through what they do at their firms, but they're also giving back as residents. To me, that's what a culture of life and culture of quality of life brings back from all these SUNY institutions. So I just cannot thank you, UP, for bringing this up, because I think you're doing the right thing. I'll leave you with one last comment. Last year's budget, the state aid to the New York Conference, state aid to counties, cities, villages, and towns was $715 million total. K through 12's increase was $1 billion. Not right. It's not right. It's not right to SUNY, it's not right to NICOM and all the other organizations, and it needs to change. We need to put our priorities in front of the legislature, the governor, and tell them it's about the people, not about the politics. Thank you.
Thanks very much to two individuals who certainly can speak to the value of ESF for the education and research that it provides. We are going to be joined by Rain Anderson, a junior wildlife manager. He had a management major there, who is here at ESF, and also Sarah Fleschauer, a freshman majoring in natural resources management. So Rain, Sarah, come on up.
Hi. Well, thank you very much for having us. I'm Rain.
I'm Sarah.
And we are here today to talk to you about how we would like to increase SUNY's funding. Sarah, would you like to go first?
As a freshman, it's very important to me to have funding for school. There is already so much stress financially when you first attend. As a freshman, I have to have a meal plan. I have to live on campus unless I am within a 30-mile radius. And housing is $5,500 for a semester. Meal plans are $2,000. And the lowest meal plan you can get is 85 meals per semester, which is not enough meals. 3 meals a day, 85 meals per semester, it doesn't work. And it would just mean so much to me if I could graduate, not having to worry about all the debt that I'm going to be in after this and go into the world prepared. I'm already working 2 jobs as a student at Moon Library and at Starbucks, and I'm juggling classes and all of my extracurricular activities as well.
Yes. To add on to that, I went through all of those finances that Sarah went. As I am now a 3rd year, I'm finally living off campus. I no longer have to pay $6,000 a semester to live on campus, which is really nice. I would like to say that 20 minutes before this meeting started, I was working at Moon Cafe. I push about 25 hours a week at the cafe to support myself and to pay for groceries. My parents aren't rich and cannot fund my tuition fully, so I have to take out loans. We gotta do what we gotta do. But it would really mean so much to us if we could not have to work so hard to support ourselves through college. Yes. Thank you.
I don't know if you noticed it, I certainly did. The one word that neither of you mentioned was tuition. What is a major myth out there that I want to correct is that SUNY provides a lot of support for tuition. There's information out there that 50% of all students get through SUNY tuition free. Tuition in many institutions is less than 25% of the cost. And what you are emphasizing, Sarah, in terms of those other costs, that should bring home the incredible expense that faces students when the state of New York basically breaks its word and does not provide the state funding that we are demanding for the institutions which we serve. Thank you so much for bringing that to light and for emphasizing it. Next, we have here on the campus of ESF the president of the ESF UUP chapter of UUP, and that's Matt Smith. Matt serves as the director of the college libraries.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Sarah and Rain, so much for your support here today. As Fred said, I am a product of SUNY myself. I grew up in a single-parent household. The affordability and quality that I was able to experience at SUNY was critical to my own success. I will also add I was prior tenured and retrenched in SUNY, meaning I lost my job, but I am committed to SUNY. I believe in a quality, affordable public education, and I'm glad to return to SUNY and do work here. So our name, the College of Environmental Science and Forestry. I completely understand if that gives you a narrow perspective of what we do here at ESF. I want to take a few moments to expand on that and tell our story a bit more. Our chemical engineers create the new materials needed for a sustainable and environmentally friendly society. Our chemists are creating new and better ways to generate energy, making better use of our natural resources, and finding new medications and ways to deliver them. Our environmental biologists solve the environmental quality and natural ecosystem problems our civilization has created. Our environmental engineers solve complex environmental management problems on a large scale. Environmental studies is the critical intersection of social science and humanities with the natural sciences, pursuing meaning and justice. Our landscape architects design and build viable, sustainable integrations of natural, cultural, human communities. Our sustainable resource managers focus on renewable and natural constructed resources to benefit people. I ask you now, what is the theme across all of these? I'll understand if you still say environmental science, but I'd say it's applied environmental science for the benefit of people. That's what we do here. We are a public good. All the research we do, all the students we teach, the climate warriors we send out into the world, is for the purpose of improving our world. Our ratios are what they should be. Our expenditures are well controlled. With rising costs and flat or diminished support, we cannot provide the same level of excellence to these students that I experienced myself. That's a heavy burden I carry every day, and that's why I'm here at this podium speaking to all of you. ESF is a public service addressing the critical challenges of our time for the benefit of all people. Close this budget gap. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Matt. Now, we had planned to be joined by Senator Rachel May this morning. She is a SUNY ESF graduate. I would like to ask Zach Zeliff from her office to say a few words. Zach.
Thanks. So, as the senator is very upset she can't be here today, as a ESF grad, former UUP member when she was at Stony Brook, who very much knows the value of SUNY ESF and the SUNY systems generally. And I was just thinking about all the different ways in which ESF benefits our community. I was at Syracuse Trivia Company Trivia last night at a bar, and there was a question about what species of tree is currently being brought back by researchers at SUNY ESF. And I was with a good friend who's an ESF grad, and you best believe we got that one right, the American chestnut. I see y'all excitement over here. And I think it's just such an interesting statement on how many ways that ESF benefits the whole community, from people working on the lake cleanup to the commentary on 81 and research on 81. I've seen great maps from ESF researchers about tree cover in the city of Syracuse and heat island effects, which is only going to get more important. So in addition to all the environmental, economic development benefits, the way it benefits our whole community in so many different ways, and having a sound environment is huge. And Morrisville, we've gotten to know better the last 4 years representing SUNY Morrisville, is also a gem. If you haven't been out there and seen the work that they do in helping farmers and people with agricultural products get to market, if you talk to any employer in town, everyone needs mechanics. The work they're doing there to educate folks to get good jobs that we need right now is so important. So, yeah, just the whole ways that all the different campuses benefit our communities is so important, and we need to make sure that last year was just a start. As Fred said, we need to make sure that we continue on our investments, close the budget gaps, and support SUNY every way we can. So, thanks for having us. Senator sends her regards.
We are also very fortunate to have great representation, also by Senator John Mannion, who serves in the 50th Senate District, representing parts of Onondaga and Cayuga counties. He has been a strong advocate for public higher education during his first term in the Senate, which he is just finishing up. As a lifelong resident of Central New York, a former public school educator, and a former union leader of the West Genesee Teachers Association, he knows the importance of quality, affordable, and accessible public higher education, and he knows that a strong SUNY makes for a stronger New York. Unfortunately, he has a very busy schedule, couldn't quite squeeze this event in, but we are joined by Derek Carr from his staff to say a few words. Derek?
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm going to be brief, but I did have some prepared remarks from the senator. I must say, please excuse my hair. I was in a fight with the wind, and the wind got the best of me. But good morning, everyone. My name is Derek Carr. I am the district representative for Senator Mannion, Senate District 50. Senator Mannion asked me to express on his behalf his full support of SUNY faculty and SUNY students, and his graduates from the men and women of UUP. He also wanted me to express the value and to understand the singular role that public higher education has in New York State. It will be the SUNY system that fulfills the unprecedented workforce training demands that come with the Microcon $100 billion semiconductor manufacturing investment. The 50th Senate District that I represent, for the reason and many others, including training new teachers and healthcare workers and environmental scientists, it is imperative that the Central New York SUNY campus have the funding required to meet this challenge. I will be fighting for SUNY, our students, faculty, and staff, and other future economic priorities in the upcoming budget. The New York State Senate majority has stood with SUNY and will continue to do so. We closed the gap, expanded part-time TAP, and now we're going to restore and expand funding for our SUNY campuses. I look forward to working together to solve these issues. Thank you for the opportunity to be represented here, and thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks very much. I'd just like to point out, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has noticed this, but I want to reference back to what Matt was saying, and you know, a lot from what of our other speakers have said. Think about this region, and we look at Cortland, which is such an important center for the training of teachers, educators, which are in desperate demand. We have SUNY ESF with its remarkable mission in addressing central, really the existential crisis that we face as a species on this planet, in the climate crisis and related environmental challenges, in a just way. We have Morrisville, which has a unique combination of programs to support you know, the central economy, the central New York economy, and again, has a unique mission. And then, you know, there is the elephant in the city, right? That's Upstate Medical University, which is, you know, the largest healthcare provider in the region, treating patients over, you know, dozens of counties. I live down in Schoharie County. This is, in essence, the central to healthcare for where I and my wife live. And at the same time, Upstate is training the next generation of healthcare professionals. These institutions, as you were saying, Matt, these are public goods that desperately need public support. We cannot expect the private sector, nor should we at any time expect them to do these important, to complete these important missions, to take them on. But the other important mission that these unique institutions take on is to provide our students with the education and training so that they are the next generation of citizens of this world. At this time, if you are alive and paying attention to what's happening in our nation, you must recognize that democracy is under assault. Our individual liberties, our rights are under attack. Our future is at risk. We desperately need the training and the education that will lead to the inculcation of values about democracy and equality. Educations of higher institutions are uniquely positioned to do that. ESF, Morrisville, Cortland are unique as public institutions that pride themselves on an accessible, high-quality education for all. That is a mission that we all must support. And we call on the governor, we call on the state legislature, and all of our allies to join in this fight, because it is a fight we cannot afford to lose. Thanks very much. And to the media that is here, those of us who spoke are available to answer any questions that you might have. So thanks again, folks, for taking the time and joining us today.